We all understand the type of climate that we're dealing with. We're dealing with multiple offer situations.
I'd love to know sort of what's your why? What makes you tick? Why are you so successful?
Have a dialogue with your lawyer. Have a dialogue with your agent.
Both sort of passionate about sort of what we do.
Again, vet your agent to make sure that they're experienced and they're local. I like that idea.
No excuse to miss it on Saturdays from 8 to 9.
That's right.
WBZ.
And now, the show that gives you the latest and most relevant housing market news. Real Estate Radio Boston with financial expert Rick Scherer and legal professional Ali Alavi.
Give me an overall sort of rule of thumb when it comes to investing my IRA. So, in other words, I can't use my any investments for my IRA for gain of today. I can't put
correct.
gains in my money.
Yeah, there's things called that are referred to in the industry as prohibited transactions and disqualified persons. Basically, these are the rules of the road that the IRS has set forth with respect to investing in alternative investments.
That sounds dangerous.
IRA. Well, anytime the IRS is involved in something, I mean, obviously they're in business to generate revenue for the United States government. So
Right.
There's going to be a lot of pitfalls that you want to make sure you avoid. And that's where I think it makes sense to hire the right group to handle this type of transaction, someone with expertise in the area.
Right.
Basically, the general rule of thumb, you can't get a current benefit or current enjoyment out of your IRA investment.
Right.
Of course, the IRS doesn't want people to enjoy their money. So,
right.
So basically, to your example, Rick, you can buy a place on the Cape. You can rent it out here and there, but you yourself can't use it here and there.
Right.
It's really for investment purposes only. It's got to be arm's length.
Right, and also it comes down to who you're renting it to. So you can't rent it to your brother,
right?
And now you're going to go with your brother, and you're going to no.
Actually, you can rent it to your brother.
Oh,
you can't go there and spend time with him while he's there. Surprisingly, the list I mentioned of lineal family members, siblings are not considered disqualified people. So.
Interesting.
It's interesting. Yeah, I've got some clients that are siblings that, one lent money to another, another invested the other's company. So it's, there are very specific nuances to the laws like that.
Stepson, stepdaughter, can that be rented?
That gets into a tricky area. Ultimately, that's going to depend on beneficiaries of the account. For example, if, say, it's your wife's son.
Yes.
Your wife is the beneficiary of your IRA. You get hit by a bus tomorrow, she inherits your IRA, and automatically she's entered into a prohibited transaction.
Right.
Because the tenant is the son.
Oh, so not only do you have to
think a couple steps ahead.
Right, you have to think about a couple of steps ahead, and that's I think why it's so critical to hire someone like Brian with Entrust Group.
Brian and I talk all the time, and I'm like, "Hey, can I do this?" And he's like, "No." I'm like, "Okay."
How does one make an offer stronger based on your experience and opinion?
Based on my experience and opinion, the cleanest offer possible is one that gets the seller's attention. And that means limited contingencies. Money usually talks.
Right.
A willingness to put down, a pretty hefty deposit, showing that you're serious, that you're not willing to walk away. Again, limited terms, limited requests and conditions.
So basically, don't throw everything in the kitchen sink. And I think one of the things that you alluded to is money talks. Let me give an appreciation for the listeners in terms of the value of a good lender. When you're dealing with a good lender, when your buyer is dealing with a good lender, as opposed to any old big bank.
Sure.
So tell us how do you feel about that, number one, and how do you see sort of transactions facilitated thereafter?
I think it's so important for a buyer to surround themselves with a great team of lender and attorney right out of the gate.
And realtor.
Right. Of course. This is why I'm here giving this advice.
Right.
So, because if we're going to write a strong offer, the timeline is typically pretty fast. And this is, like I say, buying a house is a full-time job, and this is, let me help you along through this process. There's going to be a time-intensive process, and make sure, that your lender is ready to go as soon as we get that purchase and sale signed, that they can, get your loan application, have everything they need from you. It might be more than you think you need to provide to them, and it's a lot of information, and, that lender needs to be available to you when you have questions, because if Rick is really doing a 1 to 2 week loan commitment turnaround time, that's very fast.
Well, everybody's got to put their running shoes on. I mean,
Right.
you can't be dilly-dallying with your documents. We need them in, but we clear conditions within 24 hours and we underwrite in 24 hours. So, you're never waiting on us, but the client has to be on board as well.